He went all in with the jacks the player called with, the ace-king. I guess another way to look at the evolution...
Morning. Ambiance. Hey, Sharky's finally here. This guy's mysterious. Sharky never frickin' talks. Moderator. What are these emojis? I didn't know you could send emojis. Oh, custom. I can make custom ones. Oh, that's cool. We gotta get some artistic people in here to make some custom emojis for me. Hard finding it's hard finding artistic people in the trading world. Wall Street trader shit. Sanitizer. I thought that was a bottle of lotion. You're minus 45 pips. I mean, that's completely fine if you're on a swing trade. If that's a day trade, that's pretty big, I think. I don't really trade by pips though. I trade by like R and I trade by percentages. It's like 45. Oh, that's quite a bit actually. That's probably like the widest stop I would ever have personally, but dude, I gotta turn off the profanity filter here. It blocked your message because you said freaking. Oh no, because you said shit. Never mind. Okay. Who cares? Let me see if I can change the. I don't know how to change it. It doesn't matter. You can say whatever. I just have to like unblock it. I just wonder if there's a way to turn off the filter, because I really don't care. You're a graphics designer though? That's pretty cool. If you want to make some like what's the one, like Discord emojis or whatever, I'll put those in the Discord if you can make something funny. YouTube is telling me like turn on some super chat thing. That's another thing I guess where they get like, I don't know what this is. Turn it on later. Hey, good morning, man. The layout, of the emojis. I think it's just like 64 by 64 or something. I'd have to look it up. Anyways, let's start. Boom, there it is. There's the beautiful face, there's the beautiful charts, and of course you guys, the beautiful audience. Let me turn down this music just so that it doesn't lag out anything. I would really like the music going, but it's I do like a live stream of music, so it's like not copywritten music, and it just lags it out. Okay, so what are we looking at here? You had a short on EU that was profitable, but then it went back up and ended up negative 400 pounds, man. I hope you got a big account. 400 is quite a bit, actually. Let's see EU. Let's always start with EU, I think, or maybe, I don't know, like, more people kind of tune in as we go, so maybe we should delay important things like EU, but we'll just start with EU. But generally we'll touch up on all of the dollar pairs, I think, in most streams. So yesterday, where are we today? Shoot. Okay, so yesterday we saw this move at the very end of the day, and this was just super annoying. We were rather frustrated. Let me just poke where we would have. This would have been a fake out right here. This was yesterday. This would have been a fake out here. That's not really a fake out, but this one is. And then here once again, you got 4 times that people got stopped out, all in, you know, a matter of 4 hours, once an hour. So that was a really messy day. Luckily we made a little bit of money on that at the very end, and it was actually, I did tell you guys in the Discord just kind of briefly that you should play a resting order here, and we actually ended up taking profit right around there, but that's kind of unimportant and not really useful to you now, because there's not a whole lot I can say about that, aside from if I go to the 1 minute here. The reason we completely took off the trade was because, okay, on this higher time frame here, you kind of see this top there, and you see it sweeping above and then breaking down, and also right here you see a sweep above that range and then break down. So I had the feeling that it was just going to reject at some point when we came back up into here, right into that range. So from the shoulder to the base, basically, and it basically did exactly what we thought there. So I exited right here after it started reversing the direction and breaking these levels. So that was like a 1.5 hour scalp or something, because the stop was right here. It was a super tight stop. But we were looking for more entries on this because we're still longer term, at least, bias to the long side, just based off of this hourly massive candle. And it came down, it tested it, so we just weren't sure if it was going to come all the way back down and basically stop us out down here, which was a huge possibility. So we just got out of it. And so it does look like it's actually ramping up. And the only thing that's hesitant for me now is we're doing something very similar to what we did last night, or yesterday, is where we had the previous day's highs, which is exactly what this was over here, the previous day high. We went to it, went past it, and then swept below it. And we did the exact same thing here again. So it's the exact same logic we had to yesterday. So I'm not really keen on longing this anymore. But it would have been wise if we didn't make that sweep. This would have been the obvious place to start getting in longs, right? But if it had fallen short or it closed above, then I would have been perfectly fine going in on that. Cool. Yeah, hopefully that makes some sense there. And to the flip side, U-Swiss is the exact same. So I actually did want to look for a short here, and I was talking to you guys in the Discord. I was like, I'll go get a burrito or whatever instead and not take the short. I did actually end up taking it, and then I exited it the exact same time. You see right here, it sweeps the lows, and then we started breaking back up here. So we exited at exactly break even, I think. Yeah, I think like to the cent, it was like exactly 0. What are you guys saying here? Good morning, good morning. Yeah, quite a bit. 10% of your portfolio. Yeah, so if you're losing 10% of your portfolio in a trade, then you have a serious mindset problem. You're basically gambling, right? You're not actually trading properly, and you should never risk more than, I would say if you have a small account, a very small account, you can risk like 10% of your account or whatever. Just like this is my advice, right? Like you don't have to follow my personal rules, but this is the rules I follow, right? But 10% of your account is just like completely unacceptable. Like you should there's a ton of videos I teach how to like actually manage your risk properly, and then you can actually calculate how to put your stop there, but never just sit in a position. Like you'll notice, one of the things that I do super well, like my whole strategy and everything, like it's not one of these like crazy strategies that wins like 70-80% of the time. I'm just really good at managing my trades. So the second something is going against me, and the second it's like confirmed that I don't like the trade anymore, I'm out of it, and I don't care. So basically I get really good risk reward trades, because a lot of my trades I'll just cut super early, or my stops are pretty tight. Like this one was going to be like a 3R. That's pretty consistent, but oftentimes something like this will happen and I'll just exit because I know it's too risky at this point, right? So that's probably one of the key things like in trading is, just getting out the second you have not really doubt, but like confirmed doubt. Like there's always times that you're gonna have doubt. Like you'll look at a chart, you'll be like, okay, well, there's a trend line here that looks like it's bouncing off of now, so maybe I don't want to be in it or something. Like that's bullshit, right? That's not like doubt for any practical purpose. But we know that I've proven by data that when something like this happens, it's more likely that it's going to come back out, right? And then stop me out. It's more likely that I'm going to lose money there, so I might as well just get out and look for a better entry. So I might as well, if we can actually get higher or something, if we can actually get higher here, I might even enter again while still in my stop area, but then I can use the exact same stop. So we have a couple options. First of all, it could have just saved me money from not losing, and secondly, it could have made me more money by giving me a better entry, right? So it's just, the only downside is like sometimes it'll go in your favor right away, like because it was bouncing off here, it could have just dumped down, and sometimes that'll happen, but it's just a probability game basically, right? They're just trying to whip people out and keep it going in the reverse. Yeah, man, like EU is just range. It's just a completely range bound month, and it's kind of funny because the previous month was just this crazy wicking trend. So if we look at like the previous months here, we saw like this massive move. Like this is all when like the COVID stuff happened, and during this move it was really difficult to trade too because the volatility was so nuts. So on the way down it was like this, right? On the way down on the smaller time frames, and it was just nuts, right? Let me get rid of that cat. And now it's basically doing the exact same thing but just flat. It's just wicking around but flat now because people don't know what they want to do anymore. The market's still kind of unsure, but there's a lot of players, like they don't know what to do. They've never seen this before, so they're all kind of panicking and not really following the same rules. Hold on, I gotta have my tea, man. This is the second tea of the day. I noticed staying awake in the middle of the night, I get really tired right around like 4 a.m. Because there's like no sun. And on the flip side, I'm not tired when I'm supposed to go to bed at like 4 p.m. So no, I don't have Discord. I use Bidwis. You check gold. Can I have the Discord channel? Yeah, thanks, Sharky, man. I knew having mods would be useful. Can you check Kaja? Oh, let's look at gold first. I actually saw this and I didn't really pay attention to it, but this is actually right around where we were talking about yesterday, right? Get rid of that shit. I hate having like little trades sitting around that I'm no longer in. It distracts me. So let's look at a little bit higher time frame, because I just wonder if this was actually the bounce that we're looking for, or if we should test a little bit lower. You know what I mean? Like, we were looking for this range here, so let me just redraw this just to make sure. And I think this could be the range, right, that we were looking to retest. This is untested still, so yeah, I'm still not convinced that that was a test, right? If we look at the daily, maybe the daily is definitely possible, because the daily is a little bit higher, but I still think it's this range. I still think it's that. I wouldn't draw it on this one. So there's a couple things we can do from here. Is, first of all, if you're just investing, like, you might as well just throw it in. You might as well just throw in some money. I think it would be wise to buy gold right about now-ish. You know, it would have been better anywhere around here. But if you're looking for an actual probable trade, I think this is silly to long here. This could easily be... okay. So this supply, untested, right? Let's look at this. It's kind of untested. It kind of just dwindles down. You could argue that that's actually testing it, but I would say it's weak. It's not really doing anything. Let's look. I think this right here. I think this right here was untested, right? You probably agree with me there. So most likely what could happen here is it could come up here, purple box, test that, and then come down even further. And I wouldn't be keen on longing up here then. Until we get back down here, we see some actual breaks of basis, things like that. So in terms of a short, this actually looks decent right now, ish, right? Look at this. But again, we still have a little bit more to go, right? So why would we want to short this when we've fallen short of what we were actually targeting? You know what I mean? So unless we get a double confirmation, which is basically a break of here, come back up, and then break again at that level, then I wouldn't short until we get to this purple zone. And don't blind short either, obviously. Wait for the reversal on the lower time frame here. Cool. Would you say it's a long-term buy on US oil? Yeah, I'm sending funds over, and it's taking 3 days, I think. I tried to throw, like, you know, along there a couple days ago when it was at 1 cent, and I got the account completely liquidated because the swap fee was $5,000. So, and yesterday, like, somebody was like bashing me, but we made fun of them all as a group, so it was really funny. Cool. I would say don't friggin' touch this with leverage, just because you have no idea what's going on. But it's a great time to invest, because reality is, how low can this go, right? You're not gonna really have to wait forever, and once the economy starts booming again, it's not going to take very long for it to recover. So something like Amazon, right? If I go Amazon, for example, this kind of prove my point. Okay, so if we go here and we assume that the economy is going to do shit for the next year, right? Then for the next year, let me go on weekly candles. For the next year, this or any other stock or any other investment, it could continue to go down for another year, right? And then once the economy is ready to go up again, it's going to take, you know, maybe another year to come back up, right? So if you look at oil, what's it going to do? For the next year, right? Even if we look at the 4 hour here, if the economy shit for the next year, it's just going to stay at 0. And it goes back up to whatever it was. I think it was at 70 or something, 7x your money or something. This would be the obvious sell point though, 40. But yeah, if you can buy under $10, that'd be friggin' incredible. So I'm waiting for a yeah, CAD JPY, sure, sorry. I missed that one. I'm just waiting for my funds to come in, and then I'm gonna throw throw a grand or something in, I think, right? And then you know, look for that return. So if I'm looking at CAD JPY, I have this higher time frame target up here that we've been looking for, and this is just an untested broken base. You look at the daily here. Cool. I like the activity, guys. It's awesome. It gives me like a lot to talk about. So I'm liking the conversation here. So this is quite clearly untested base. If you look at a little bit lower time frames, you know, the lower time frames are less important, but it did like barely test it. There's kind of area here that's completely untested. But anyways, that's where it's gonna go eventually when it does come up. Oh, little guy. He loves to come by, like he ignores me all day until I start talking or start doing something, and then he like comes by. He comes by and just like sees what's up, like sees who's around, and then he sits here. He's really cute. So let me pop up a bigger time frame here. Yeah, so I am reasonably bullish on the Canadian dollar in some sense. Fundamentally, not as much. You know what? Okay. Just give me a second here. What is going on here? Okay, so this is what I was kind of thinking. So this is a broken base, and it would have been absolutely beautiful if it just rejected off of this and just kept going down. That would have been great for the bears. But I was talking about in the Discord, just briefly, that on a 4-hour close above this level, I'd be interested in getting in some longs and watching for longs. The reason being is that basically I do have that higher time frame target. It is testing this area here. That's not super important. What's more important is that it's swept below here and it's come back within. And if you look at a higher time frame, it's a little bit more bullish to here, so the daily might have to close up here too. And if you look at the lower time frame, just the structure of how things are playing out, you can see consolidation range here, stopping out a bunch of longs so that we can continue long, and again right here, stopping out longs to continue long, and again here. If you consider this the sweep, right, and then coming back up, so this could have just been a stop out. So I'm actually, it does seem funny, like it's not a very clean chart, but that's my, you know, kind of inkling. That's kind of my guess, and the first target would just be these highs again. Actually, that's kind of my guess. It's not something I'm super strong opinionated on, just because it looks ugly. But yeah, that's just what I was thinking. Yeah, no worries, man. But we'll wait. I think if we start seeing this shit again as we're growing, it's going to be more and more likely. You can keep an eye on it. More and more likely that we go up higher, right, as we keep going. This actually would have been a good entry. Unfortunately I missed that because I was talking about it and it closed the 4-hour above. This would have been actually a perfect entry right here, right on that maybe. Actually, shit. No, you know what? This might be a good trade. Obviously, like, I don't want to say, like, take this trade or whatever, because... And I don't even know if I'm going to take it because I'm not super set on this. But this could be, like, a good scalp. Let me just go here. Where would we target? Well, we want to look for, like, the closest kind of untested high or point where people are going to get stopped out. And I think an obvious place of people getting stopped out most closely is actually right here, but that's super close and we've basically already hit it. But this is an untested base, right? Do you agree with me? So that would actually be a good, like, scalp trade maybe. But the R just isn't that good. Hey buddy. Let me see here. Yeah, the R is kind of shit. You could tighten up the stop, but still, the R is kind of shit actually. Anyways, I do think this is gonna happen. I think there's a really good chance that that happens, but I'm just not super set on it. All right, cool. Do live trading right now? Well, kind of, man. Like, my live trading is, you know, 8 or 9 hours of me watching YouTube, watching TV, doing the dishes, showering, and then I'm only really looking at the charts for probably about 2-3 hours a day. And then for the rest of it, if I'm in a trade, maybe every 15 minutes I'll look at my trades and just make sure that, you know, something like this isn't happening with the U-Swiss here, where I exited on there because I saw that it was actually going to reverse. If you see this, actually, here, I would re-enter this if we break below here. You know why? Because this level has been tested twice now. So most likely if it comes back down here, it's going to break it. And I think if it breaks this base, it's definitely going to come down and test that. So if it breaks this base, there's a very, very good chance we're going to go here is the first one. And then all the way down to this area. So yeah, I would keep an eye on that. Maybe the 15-minute, just gotta watch the 15-minute. See, like, this is even more strong confirmation that that trade's gonna work, right? So I might have exited for no reason because this is an untested level, but it's quite obvious to you guys, I think. Hopefully it's obvious to you guys why that was important for me to exit, and then I'll just re-enter if I have to. Obviously it's gonna be a worse entry, but I can actually have a tighter stop because the stop would be here. So it might actually be a better trade, you know? See, it's like, this trade's actually better. In terms of R, it's actually better. So it's kind of funny how things like that work, where like you have a worse entry, but the trade's actually gonna make you more money. But yeah, you can see, since the 15-minute, like, it did touch this level, and then it closed within that range. It's really, really strong. Okay, what are your thoughts on odd JPY for the rest of the day? We got a couple trades open. So my thoughts on odd JPY is kind of back and forth, and for a good reason, and I'll explain to you what's going on here. First of all, if we just consider odd JPY, we kind of have this area that I was talking about as a liquidity area where we swept it and then we started breaking back up really rather aggressively, right? So I am bullish in that sense. I'm also bullish in the sense that this is an uptrend, obviously, and I'm also bullish in the sense that this is a gap fill. So odd JPY, as it is alone, I'm rather bullish, right? It could also come back down here and test this area here. That's why I've got that line, because that's an untested demand zone. So if we just look at that, I'm rather bullish, right? But when we look at something like a smaller pair like odd JPY, we always should look at the dollar pair, right? And I'm rather bearish on Aussie dollar. You know why? Because this was the daily base. If I show here, daily base, we tested the daily base nearly perfectly. We were waiting for that for a long time. That whole move up, we were longing that, basically, right? Long scalping. You know, we don't get them all, but we know that it's going to go up there. We just don't know when. You can see like all the trades, right? All the mini trades, right, along the way. Now we're coming back down here on Aussie USD, right? And you can see here we swept and we stopped out shorters. Here again, stopped out shorters twice, actually, 1, 2, the two little peaks there, and here happening right again. You can see that like this. Let me draw the line better. I think it goes on this one actually. Yeah. So you can see it stops out this is the supply and demand traders. So those guys that blindly say, okay, I freaking supply and demand traders, man, they're silly, because they go here and they say, okay, this is untested, so I'm going to enter there and I'm going to put my stop at the top of the freaking demand, and then they get stopped out because they don't understand how liquidity works, right? Why is USD JPY blocked? That's weird. See, the block filter on the chat makes no sense. Yeah, so supply and demand traders, like they have one concept of how the market works, but the most important concept is knowing where liquidity is. Like that's probably the most important thing, aside from just like buying the trend and just like, you know, no, like aside from like other things that are like mindset things, that's probably like the most important thing in where you're looking on a chart is like, where are stop orders, right? So that we know where to reverse. So we waited for them to get stopped out and then we entered, basically. Yeah, so I think most likely we come down. Most likely we come down, and then once again, you know, to continue the uptrend, we gotta stop these supply and demand traders. The demand buyers down here, we gotta stop them out, and before we continue up. And then I think it'll be time for odd JPY to fill that gap after the Aussie dollar fills that area, and I think this will be the matching pattern. It'll come down to here, just like Aussie USD comes down to here, and then we can go back up and fill Swiss and yen gaps, because those are a little bit short. Had JPY in profit. Stop is, what is that? You're long on what? Odd JPY? You're long on odd JPY or long on CAD JPY. Your stop is 76. I think CAD JPY is what you said. Oh yeah, look at that. I don't know if you just took the exact trade like I posted there. It would have been dumb for you to enter the top here, like really dumb. So I hope you didn't enter if you once I said that. The only smart trade here would be to enter on this candle, that candle top. This is the only way you can make this a smart trade, I think. And even then, I don't really like it, but I think it'll work. And mind you, if it hits this and then comes down, this would be a stupid trade, right? Because now we have no target. There's nothing to go up to anymore, aside from, you know, way up here, but that's a ridiculous target for a day trade. And if your stop is here, then you're day trading. It just works that way. UJ, let's look at UJ. A lot of yen going on today, eh? So I was, this is also something just ranging like a motherfucker, right? Okay. Just a general vibe I get from this. The general vibe is I want to come up, right? Simply because untested areas, I still want to sweep those tops. I would like to come up. It's just not doing anything that's like concrete yet. So there's no reason, because it's basically 50-50 from where it comes out of this range. You know, you could argue anything you want, but it's basically 50-50. So you can look for moves like this within the range. Where is it? You can see, okay, we're sweeping out here. We stopped out some shorts. Sweeping out here, stopped out some shorts. Sweeping out here, stopped out some shorts. So it does look really bearish in that sense, where we're stopping out all the shorts so we can continue to the downside. You know, yeah, I'm just not sure actually. This is a stopping out longs right here. It's just, it's literally, It's making both sides lose. Look, long stop, long sweep. Holy crap. This is crazy. There's nothing to do, man. Don't touch this pair. Don't touch it. Would I consider myself an institutional trader? Well, by definition, an institutional trader is somebody who's trading with, well, you know, my definition might be slightly off, but it's basically somebody who's trading with an institution, right? So that kind of means like somebody who's trading with a bank, or there might be something else in there, but I don't trade with a bank. I don't have a salary. I don't trade for anyone. I don't get bonuses by trading, you know, the banks, the institution's money. So no, I kind of use logic that allows me to embed myself into how these institutions might trade. But that's basically all I can say about that. I'm a retail trader that is just smart. And takes advantage of other retail traders, basically, because you're not going to beat the banks, so you have to basically join them and leverage yourself off of how they trade, right? So if you understand how they trade, it might help you a little bit. But yeah, in terms of, you know, being an institutional trader, I am partnered with a prop firm, but that's it. I trade retail that way. Like, I don't have any institutional trading tools or anything like this. I just trade like a retail trader with prop firm money a little bit. Yeah. What indicator is that? There's no indicators on the chart right now. The only thing that you might think is an indicator is this green line, and that's just Monday's range. Monday's low, Monday's high, everything within Monday. That's the only thing on the chart right now. I don't even have volume because volume's a piece of shit. Well, actually I do here for some reason. I don't know why. It should be this. There we go. Yeah, Monday's a piece of shit. Or volume's a piece of shit. So screw it. How much do you make every month? I'm not gonna tell you that. Like, I don't think that serves any purpose. If I told you a big number, would that help you? This channel is all about helping you guys. So that's completely irrelevant, right? So I don't even know why you would ask that. Like, it's kind of like a lot of people, I don't get offended by it, but like a lot of people just get offended by that question. So you might want to like just not blindly ask people that question, because, you know, it could be taken really offensively. For me, I generally don't give a shit about anything. So like, I could tell you a really low number, or I could tell you a really high number, and it doesn't change. It doesn't change how much I know about the market. It doesn't change how well I trade, right? So use your best judgment. I partnered with a prop firm, and I trade for a living. You can do your judgment based off of that. I'm down €7 on it. Just put a short on, so I smashed. Oh shit. EJ, this is a really good one. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Message held for review. Do I trade ICT? No. I do know somebody who does trade ICT, and they only trade it on euro, the euro dollar, and he does phenomenally well. The problem with ICT is it's just so freaking incredibly boring to watch. So I actually never even watched it. I tried to watch like an hour of it. It's like hundreds of hours or something, and it's so fucking dull and boring. And I don't really understand what he was even talking about. Like, he talks about weird shit that doesn't make any sense. So what I trade is just my own developed methods. I figured everything on my own. So okay, I want to talk about this one here. So high time frame, we haven't looked at EJ like on a higher time frame in a little bit here. So higher time frame, we're still looking for this weekly base break to retest, and then this is a double bottom. That's obviously going to be the first level, and you can see I drew this liquidity zone area right there. Because why is there liquidity there? Well, it's quite obvious because there's a lot of stop orders there that haven't been stopped out. You see these wicks, they're not stopping anyone out. It's just all flat. So I imagine there's going to be a huge pool of resting stop orders there. So we're going to come down here at some point, but we're breaking off really strong. So there's no reason for us to try to hunt for that stop, right? So most likely, if we want to get in on a trade, we could get a super, super tight long here, depending on how it reacts off of this, right? And your stop is super obvious, right? It's super obvious. Like you could put it here, but there's really no point to put it down here. Why? Because if we come all the way down here, how much further do they have to go to just get this liquidity, right? It would be silly for you to join everyone else and act as just liquidity for somebody else's profits. So you want to get out early and maximize your potential. So if it does come down here, you know, you're going to be able to get a really good trade simply just on, first of all, you could just scalp it, right? You could do this and you could just scalp to the top, and that's going to be 4R alone. But most likely it's going to bounce a little bit higher and come up to this next untested level. So this could be an incredible trade depending on how it plays out, and I might come in and out of this trade because this is going to take a couple days for sure. This will probably go into next week, I think. But that could be a 10-hour trade, easily. What percentage do I aim for a day? I don't. Again, it's a silly mindset. You know, that's a really dumb way to think about trading. If I try to make money, or I try to make a certain percent, then I'm just pressuring myself. Oh, look at this here. Multiple tests of one range top, this is liquidity. So obviously this is going to be the first point to target, just slightly past it, right? So yeah, to aim for making money is the worst mindset you can have in trading. You should just think about, you want to trade properly. You don't want to make money in the market. The money just comes naturally once you start trading properly. So that's kind of like, you know, if I was in this trade, like I was talking about at the beginning of the stream, if I was in this trade and I said, okay, it went a 0.75R or something like that into profit, and then it started coming back on me, and I saw this and I was like, okay, maybe I should exit, right? Because it wicked there. And then I thought of, oh no, I need to make sure that I make 1% today or something. Then I would sit in it and I would be emotionally attached, and I would be like, please, you know, go back in the direction. But it's completely irrelevant to your long-term success. You just cut anything that you need to. Don't look to make money, right? That's probably like, you know, a lot of you're here because you want to make money, and I'm telling you right now, like, that's the worst mindset you can have. Trade because you like the game of trading, right? Yeah, you know, like, I'm not trying to like bash you or anything. I'm just like, this is just the way I talk. Like, I'm kind of super opinionated about things, and yeah, you know, I just think like anyone who tells you like you should aim for making a certain amount of money, it's all just like it's all like they're trying to sell some sort of course or something. Like, I remember watching a video, what's that guy, that stock trader guy, that young stock trader guy, I don't know if his name is Sebastian or something. Oh, Ricky G. I don't, it's like a Mexican sounding last name. And he talks about how he tries to make like 2% a day or something like this, and that's just because he's trying to sell you a course. Like, he's like, I make 2% every single day, and that's fucking bullshit, right? Like, nobody makes 2% a day. Yeah, Ricky Gutierrez, yeah, Gutierrez, yeah, that guy. Nobody makes 2% a day, and if you do, then you're gonna do it for a little while and then blow your account because you're trading improperly, right? Cool. We talked about odd. Let's talk about UCAD. Yeah, they're all like, I'm gonna make like kind of like funny like reaction videos to like things like that too, like not just like account flips. I did a reaction to like 2 account flips, and I want to like react to like Ricky or something, because Ricky's just a freaking moron, and he trades stocks, so it's a little bit different. No, I don't trade any stocks. He trades stocks, which is a little bit different than Forex. Like stocks can just like kind of just really rally. So maybe he means I try to make 2% a day, and once I make 2% I stop trading or something. But again, that's a stupid mindset, because you could literally make 10% in a day if you have a really good R trade, right? If this came down and it gave you a perfect entry and then it started rallying really hard and then you just decided to cut it after you make your trade or whatever, or you see other opportunities that are just as good, why wouldn't you trade them, right? So it's kind of that's kind of where I rant, I guess, about that. Any good pairs today? Yeah, so I longed. Oh, you guys were asking about this, weren't you? Yeah, you were asking about this. I longed GU for a 2.5R, and we hit profit exact dead on. Oh yeah, this is good. This is good. I should tell you guys about this. So, if we're looking, okay, basically, first of all, logic. We were talking about this yesterday. I literally drew this yesterday, and I said it's probably gonna touch that blue box and then bounce off, right? I mean, if you don't believe me, go to the stream yesterday, and that's exactly what happened. And the only reason I knew that is because I can see the future. And no, but really, but really, the only reason I knew that is just because it was random. That's just a guess, right? I guessed that it would go there just based off of this candle top wick, right? Based off of that, and it just happened to happen, right? So there's no special strategy to know that. It was just chance. And then we saw bouncing off of it, we're stopping out the longs. Stopping out the longs here again. See a sweep below the range, and then continuation to the upside. So after the double, the 2 times, then I was like, okay, looking for longs now. So we look down here, we look at the 5-minute, and we see the same shit, right? Same shit. Break the lows, and then continuation to the upside. So once we started breaking here, that's when I said, okay, let's get in, right? On this candle close, once we broke up, because this is the sweep, let me draw it. This is realistically a 1-minute scalp trade, right? That was the trade, and then I saw it here and I entered. Right, that was the trade. And it had already retested this, so I knew it wasn't going to come back down, so I just market entered, right? See the logic there? If it hadn't retested that right there, I would have waited and I would have entered even better. Okay, and then I wanted to talk about how, if you see this, okay, you see this top, and then it sweeps above, and it started breaking down. So, you know how I was saying about U-Swiss earlier, where it did exactly that. It swept the previous range low, and then it started breaking back up, and I exited. Why did I exit? And I didn't exit here. Right? Why? It's because I saw that coming back to this zone as a very high possibility, because it really took off quite strong, and this is untested, completely untested. It was a little bit different here, right? You could argue that this was, I don't know, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit hard to explain. This is kind of untested too. It's just a different feeling, right? Let's go back here. But I knew that if I moved up the stop behind this, like most people do, it would go down, it would stop me out, and then it would continue up to the upside. And that's exactly what happened, right? Because this base is still untested. and it had to come back down, right? Cool. Hopefully that helps. Any good pairs today? Yeah, okay, so that was the trade. GA, let's look at GA. CAD JPY running, cool, good job, man. Do you think the stock market a good long-time investment while having a smaller amount in Forex? Yeah, so Forex should be, if you could properly trade, if you can actually make money trading, I would say put, you know, 10% of your total capital, your total assets into Forex, and trade with that. And then, you know, if something does happen long term or something, you still have tons of money, and then put the rest of your assets into like long-term investments. You don't need to trade with that much money. Honestly, you can just make a living with 10K if you really need to, if you're trading well. Mind you, you might want to do more than that because you might want to make more and more money, but yeah. What's a good way to learn more about price action? Watching this stream. Literally, I can teach you guys everything about price action. I've learned from multiple people who trade different price action, so I know a lot of different price action strategies and logic behind the things. Personally, I basically only trade one system essentially. But a lot of people do like different things, like they'll trade order blocks and whatnot, and I don't really know the data behind all of these other strategies. I know the data behind how I trade. Already looked at gold, my man. Okay, let's look at GA. Oh man, a lot of the pound pairs just look so ugly to me, and I'm just not interested in them. This looks good right here. So we had that liquidity, we came back down to test this untested zone. We're closing actually within the exact, that's a little bit bullish sign. I mean, it's not super important because it's not like it's closing below the range there, but it is a little bit more bullish sign, you know, so that could be an idea. Next thing is we're actually closing back above here. This level that brought us to the low. Oh, actually, that's not the low. This is the low. Scratch that. Scratch that. That's something that you gotta watch out for, because that's actually the level we need to break above. Cool. So I'm bearish until we get above this, right? But I see a possible reversal happening right now. Yeah, it still looks good for shorts, but it's definitely, you know, it definitely would be a really good time for the bulls to take over. A really good time. Partially because of the liquidity, partially because of this. We started breaking up. So we would just basically watch for the smaller time frames now. Look, boop, boop, boop. So we got some people getting stopped here. Breaking that range, continuation. Came back to retest that range. Like, this is all structure that we like, so we're gonna want to see how it tests this range now. It does look like it's bouncing off of it kind of well, and if we get like this, we get above that right there, I'm gonna say that it's gonna break out, basically this level right here. If it closes above that on maybe the 15, let's see the 15. Yeah, on the 15, then it's bullish. I think there's a really low chance that it'll reject on there, but who knows. Yeah, and then we'd target up here, right? Up there probably. These tops or something. Yeah, in terms of short though, it would be a great short if we wicked above here and then right back down. And then I would be interested in looking for a short. That'd be perfect short position. I don't think it's not gonna go short yet though. This would be a bad place to short, simply because it's just a bull flag. Let me show you here. There's a bull flag. How do I draw this shit? Boom. Oh, I did it wrong. How do I do this? I don't use these much. Like this, right? Yeah, it's like this. Okay. There's a bull flag, right? It's gonna continue up. What's up, Papa? Oh. GA still good for a short? Yeah. I think it's more likely that we're gonna get a good short in. But short term we can get a good long scalp maybe. Please analyze gold. Yeah, we already looked at gold. Quickly sum it up. Here's some squiggles, right? That's a summation. Hopefully that helps. I don't know, man. I don't even remember what we said about gold. Please show me an example of a scalp trade versus a day trade. Alright, look at this. Okay. Scalp trade versus a day trade. Alright, so. Okay, see what I do with the time frame here? I go to the 1 minute, and then I look at the 1 minute, and I say, okay, this is something that I like. I want to enter there, right? This is a scalp. Boom. A day trade. This is the difference. 15 minute. Boom. That's the difference. There's nothing different, man. Except for how fast you're trading. It's the exact same. Let's look at Aussie, because I'm just curious. Good. Still going in our direction. Good, good. Let's look at this. Good. Got out still. Good. I mean, this could easily reject off, but... Cool. So... NJ shorted... Are you giving me a signal right now, Daniel? Shorted 4-hour swing. Everyone should use ATR. That's bullshit, man. Nobody needs ATR. Useless, just like every other indicator. The only purpose I could see for the ATR is that you know how far things generally range, but you can simply just look at, like, boom. Okay, move 0.7%. You can just do that if you want. We already looked at UJ. There's no bias on UJ for me right now. It's not doing anything but making people lose. It's just mad chop. Aussie Kiwi. This one I've been rather interested in as of lately. So we see this daily swing high right here, right? See this one? And we went above and then closed below on, I don't know, some sort of level. Not really. We went below it at least. We didn't go for very long, so we can kind of think we're a little bit bullish in that sense. We still have this daily base to test that's untested. The only thing that I would be watching here is we did make this consolidation and then completely obliterate that move up, right? So if we can get like another pattern that confirms that again, then I might be interested in shorting. But really right now, I think, look at this. Ah, damn pop-ups. Look at this. We stopped out some people, continued up. Look at this. Stopped out some people, continued up. Look at this. Small time frame, stopped out some people, right? Continued up. So there's nothing bearish about this move, right? This move is super bullish actually. So we're gonna come up to test this base, right? U-Swiss, we already looked at U-Swiss a bunch actually. Looked at U-Swiss maybe like freaking 5 times talking about it today. I think that's about it for today though. I think we're roughly getting about an hour each day, and I think that's really good. An hour of talking about this is solid. It gives everyone like a good understanding of the market, and it helps me express my own thoughts, at least to me too. So it's really helpful for like all ends. Do GA break uptrend? I so confuse. Um, I don't know, man. I don't think so. It still looks like an uptrend to me, right? If it breaks below here on a weekly, no, daily maybe? It doesn't matter, man. It's not much of an uptrend. It's a ranging market. GA. It's in a downtrend right now. That's the only trend I can see. Cool. I'm gonna look at EuroCAD just really quickly, and then I'm gonna call it a day. Check out for the next hour, and then I'll go do my stuff. So this blue untested level, right? But this looks good. Okay. Yeah, this looks good, man. This looks really bullish. Okay, so obviously a massive uptrend. This is a consolidation, you know, this is, you know, this silly old pizza pattern here that a lot of people will trade, and then they'll say, okay, it's going to be a continuation pattern, right? Because it's a triangle, and they think that shapes actually matter. So a lot of people, they'd be like, oh, let's buy it, right? With our stop below here. And then they get fucked over when the market makers know that they have their stops there. Like, you don't need to, it's best to not think in these, like, these silly terms like this pattern, you know, this, because it's drawing a shape, it's going to do something. It's just ridiculous logic, right? It doesn't mean shit. Right. So market makers know that, you know, you're an idiot, and they're going to stop you out before continuing to the upside. So that's really funny alone, but it's also kind of, you can use it to your advantage. There's this gap here that was obvious that it was going to fill, right? So it filled the gap. It came below here, and it swept those levels and then started breaking back up. So if we just draw this on the 4 hour, so it's a little bit more clear. You can see range, sweeping out, and then continuation. So this is that consolidation, expansion, or like fake out and then expansion. Now we're gonna go back into the trend, right? So if we want to draw the levels, you have your levels right there. Came back to retest that same zone as per usual, just to confirm that it's acting as support, and then we're going to continue. So I would say that I'm pretty damn bullish on this. On the smaller time frame, possible long situation. We're basically just looking for long reversals now, for the trend to switch back to long after a retrace at a certain level. That's all we have to do here. So we wait for it to touch a level that we like, watch for the long reversal, and then we enter long. Cool. Let me get rid of this thing because I don't want people to think I'm a moron. What's up, Papa Bear? Oh man, that cat is annoying. Okay guys, do I actually place trades on the live stream? Sometimes, but I generally only trade, I would say 0 to 5 trades a day, and that's spread across about 8 to 10 hours. And usually I'll have already looked at the market before coming on the stream to get an idea if I wanted to enter anything. So it's kind of rare that I see something that I really like. But I've done it a couple times where I go in and I open up my account and I trade off the screen so you don't see my freaking account, right? That'd be stupid. But I did show you guys one here. Let me see how it's going, just out of curiosity. Yeah, boom. I showed you guys this one, right? At the beginning of the stream that it was going to touch there. Right? So that's about as live as it gets. Like, I'll show an entry. Mind you, it didn't actually hit the entry, but I'll show you a possible position and I'll show you the target. Right? I think it was something stupid like this. And then you guys can blindly follow, and it's not financial advice, but yeah. I don't suggest ever following a trade I offer, but How is the $100 USD challenge? So I think I made like $40 or something. It was like it's silly because I don't have enough margin to actually be able to trade. So like the most I can bet is like very little because I don't have enough leverage on the account. Like I don't have I don't have the option to do 500 to 1. So I think I made like 40% like the first 2 days, and then I just got margin called a couple times because it's not necessarily possible to do it that many times in a row without trying many times, right? So I think the account is like it closed a bunch of trades out and it just doesn't look very interesting. So it's unfortunate, like it's not exciting. I would much rather like it just completely blow up than like it stopped me out at like, you know, stopped me out like at like $40 loss or something. So it's nothing I can do. Like it's not very interesting. But some of the people are like actually they one guy like 30x'd his account and then blew it up, so that was kind of cool. But it's not going as exciting as I thought it would go, which is unfortunate. What's your opinion on signals? I think it's rare that you find signals that are good. There are people who actually give signals for free that are actually good. That'll be even probably harder to find than paid signals. The disadvantage though with paid signals is you have to pay. But a lot of people who are just offering signals like don't really know how to trade themselves, so they just want to make money. You made $150 accounts. You flipped it 10x and then you lost it. Yeah, that's exactly what's gonna happen. Like every single person is gonna flip the account for a couple days and then blow it up, because that's how it happens, right? And that's all of these videos. Like every single person that's doing these account flip videos, I guarantee what they do is they make a few and then they flip them as many days in a row as they can, recording each day, being like, oh wow, that's great, like I'm doing super well, and then eventually it blows up and then they stop the challenge and they don't post it blowing up. So I guarantee like every single one of those videos is it's blown up in the end. That's just like the last number that they got to before they blew it up, because they keep trying to do it crazy. Do I trade the news? No. So I close my trades pre-news if there's gonna be big news. Should you always let your trades run to where the like generally, Colin, if you're new, managing your trades is actually going to be worse for you. So it's much better to just like have this bias. Like let's say that we wanted to make this trade here, or here. Yeah. Generally, if you're like completely new and you say, okay, I know that when something like this happens and I enter here or whatever, I'm more likely to make money. Generally, it's just best to just completely leave it all the way to the end. Unless there's just complete obvious sign that you should get out. And that's going to do best for you. But for me, like I just know that this is actually going to save me money in the long run by getting out early. And then, you know, like stop moving your stop losses forward. Like don't move your stop losses forward, man. What's it gonna, you're just scared of losing money, but reality is a lot of times it's gonna come back to your stop loss, stop you out, and then continue in the direction. So just don't move the stop losses forward like ever, basically, until there's basically a new setup like super far down. Like maybe if you're like halfway down the trade, be like, okay, I'll move my stop, right? But yeah, basically. You're gonna blow out your second account soon, yeah. I think I'm gonna do like one of those account flips just like for fun. But I'll do it a bunch. I'll just do it a bunch until I get like a good account flip. Actually, I don't know if I can, because I have 200. I only have 200 leverage. I don't know if I can do a very exciting one. Yeah, I might have to do it on a different broker or something somewhere. I don't know. Cool. Should I focus on a few pairs? Yeah, when you're new, only trade the US dollar pairs. These other pairs are influenced by the US dollar pairs, so it's just much easier to just only trade the US dollar pairs. Right. Alright guys, that's plenty of talk. I'm gonna call it here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I don't use the phone app to place my trades. No, I use the computer. Yeah, you can flip accounts with DCA. You can flip accounts with anything. Do I give away signals? Not really, kind of. So I post a lot of my analysis, and I'll tell you guys when I'm entering sometimes. But I generally don't really update it. It's a lot of like just. It's a lot of just what's the word? Like I feel obligated to do something if I am giving signals, so I just don't do that. Do I take in students? I do mentorship. Yeah, you can send me a DM in the Discord. Private education is very expensive though, so I don't know how much money you have, but make sure you have money. Great. Yeah, send me a message in the Discord if you're interested. I'm gonna call. Yeah, this is live, man. You can go to my channel and you can watch this like right now. It's on a playlist, or you can watch them from the Discord when they go live. All right, I gotta call it. You guys are freaking crazy. I'll see you guys tomorrow.